Dillian Whyte says that he personally witnessed Deontay Wilder get knocked out cold by Wladimir Klitschko in sparring. Now, over the years, there's been numerous people who have come out and said that they saw Klitschko drop Wilder in sparring multiple times, in fact. But on at least one of those occasions, Dillian Whyte says he was present and Wladimir Klitschko not only dropped Deontay Wilder, but knocked him out cold and left him twitching. So I'm going to quote the body snatcher directly here. He said, "I've seen him get knocked out. Wladimir knocked him out. He knew what happened. He had his hands up, he was roughing Vlad up, bringing the smoke, and he was going wild. Vlad backs up, changes his footwork, feinting, jabs to the body, throws that feint jab left hook. Wilder had his hands up, he was gone. It wasn't no knockdown, he was knocked cold, properly twitching as well. That's why they probably didn't want him to fight Vlad, because Vlad was going to fight him as a pro and Wilder never fancied it the whole time." So those are the words of the body snatcher. And as I say, it's not just a lone voice we're talking about here. Multiple people have come out over the years and said the very same thing. I mean, even this video right here, Tyson Fury back in 2018, he said Wladimir Klitschko dropped Wilder twice in sparring. He is the cousin of Andy Lee, and Andy Lee was in some of those Klitschko camps. Andy Lee is one of the people who said he personally witnessed Deontay Wilder hitting the canvas in those Klitschko camps. So at this point, I'm not just going to take it for a rumor. There's far too much, let's say, corroborating accounts, far too many corroborating accounts for me to just dismiss it as rumors and something people made up, because you've got a bunch of people saying it, not just Johnny Nelson, Andy Lee, Tyson Fury, Dillian Whyte. There are others as well. Okay, so I'm almost certain as you can be without seeing the footage or being there yourself, as certain as you can be that this actually did happen. And if you look at Deontay Wilder's behavior throughout his whole career, it suggests that he wasn't keen on getting in the ring with Wladimir Klitschko. Perhaps this is why, because he had memory of getting knocked out cold. I mean, when I say that Deontay Wilder avoided Klitschko, people tend to just think of when Wilder and Klitschko were champions at the same time. No. Deontay Wilder had 32 fights as a contender and a prospect before he even fought for a world title. In 32 fights, this guy couldn't challenge either one of the Klitschkos? Think about it. Tyson Fury managed to challenge Klitschko in his 25th fight. AJ managed to fight for his world title, I think it was in his 16th fight, and he fought Klitschko in a unification in his 19th fight. But yet Deontay Wilder in 32 fights, he didn't go anywhere near a Klitschko. And when he did get the opportunity to finally step up to world level, he didn't fight Wladimir Klitschko, who had 3 belts and was a reigning champion. No, he didn't fight him. He waited until Vitali had retired, and then he took on Berman Stavern, who just won the vacant belt from Chris Arreola. He took the easy route to a title rather than fighting Klitschko. And once he became champion, when he beat Stavern, he kept avoiding Klitschko. It's right here. Shelley Finkel said Wilder will not be rushed to Klitschko. He described Deontay Wilder as just a prospect and that you don't throw prospects right in. He was 33 fights deep at that point, and he had the WBC world title, and his manager's calling him a prospect? What the hell's that all about? And not only had he avoided Klitschko for 32 fights when he was just a contender and continued to avoid him after he became WBC champion, but even after Klitschko lost his titles, plural, to Tyson Fury, he had the opportunity to fight Klitschko even then, as a voluntary defense. But no, he didn't do that. He allowed AJ, who'd only had 18 fights, he allowed AJ to go fight Klitschko instead and get the vacant WBA belt in the process. Wilder was on the safe side of the ropes because he didn't have the heart to get in there with Klitschko, truth be told. Either he didn't have the heart or his team were too frightened of putting him in there with Klitschko. And that's when Wilder had been champion for a couple years, I believe, by then. And, I have to imagine that it's not just Wilder's team who was scared of the Klitschko fight, but even to some degree Wilder himself, because he wasn't exactly calling Klitschko's name from the rooftops, was he? Because if your management's holding you back, you might still be out there saying, yeah, I want Klitschko, and I want to fight this guy, I want to fight that guy. But with Wilder, he wasn't like that with Klitschko. He was quiet as a church mouse for the most part. So perhaps this is why. Because Klitschko did something to him in them sparring sessions that haunted Deontay Wilder for many years. And that's why he avoided him. And also, that might be the reason why Dillian Whyte is so confident that he could beat Deontay Wilder. Because there are people like me, and probably most of you, who would pick Deontay Wilder over Dillian Whyte. But we weren't in them training camps. We didn't see Deontay Wilder hit the deck against Klitschko. And remember, Wilder hit the deck while Klitschko was wearing 18-ounce gloves and Wilder had headgear on. Imagine what would have happened if they were in a professional fight. Klitschko had 10-ounce gloves, Wilder ain't got no headgear and got hit with the same shot. So Dillian Whyte witnessed these things, and you don't look at a guy the same way once you've seen him laid out on the canvas. It doesn't matter what he does after that. You're still going to have the memory of him stretched out on the canvas twitching in the back of your head. Even though he might be a world champion now, he might be knocking people out, you're still going to be thinking, I remember the time when you got sparked out. And if it happened to you once, it can happen to you again. And if it was with a left hook, we all know Dillian Whyte has got a great left hook himself. So this is perhaps where Dillian Whyte gets a lot of his confidence from. The fact that he's seen Deontay Wilder at his weakest. See, we haven't seen that. PBC have buried the Harold Sconia's footage. There is some footage of Wilder getting stopped in the amateurs. But in terms of, as a pro, getting knocked out cold, we've never seen that. Dillian Whyte says he has seen it. So, maybe this is where a lot of the confidence is coming from. And again, it's not like Wilder was just dominating Wladimir Klitschko every day in sparring, got caught with one big shot, and that's it. No. They say that he was down on multiple occasions. Think about that. So, from a technical point of view, Dillian Whyte is also thinking, okay, I can get to him. I've seen how to get to him in them sparring sessions with what Vlad did to him. I know what tricks I can pull off and engineer openings for my hook. Yeah. Now, obviously, things happen in sparring. Fighters improve. Deontay Wilder has improved massively since then. I've got no doubt about it. Anthony Joshua got knocked out in sparring by David Price of all people. But look how far Anthony Joshua's come since then. He's beaten much better people than David Price. Yeah. So don't get it twisted. I'm not writing Wilder off because he may have got knocked out by Klitschko in sparring many years ago. No. All I'm saying is the image, the perception a lot of people have of Deontay Wilder is off. The reality is different than the perception at this stage. The perception of many people is that Wilder is literally invincible. The only person who stands a chance is Fury. He's the only person who could maybe beat Wilder. But outside of that, nobody can touch this guy. But if you have seen Wilder knocked out cold, you wouldn't be saying that. You'd be thinking, hang on, he got knocked out cold with 18-ounce gloves on and headgear. What happens if AJ catches him with 10-ounce gloves on? He's never been in the ring with somebody who can punch like AJ as a pro. Not even remotely close. What happens when one of these other guys like Hrgovic or, Dillian Whyte lands a left hook on his chin? Now, obviously, it's easier said than done. Yeah, there are plenty of guys out there who can hit hard, but Wilder's pretty good at avoiding the punches, let's be real. But he can't avoid the punches forever. There are going to be certain styles, certain fighters who know how to find the openings, who know how to set traps and spring them. Yeah? Eventually somebody's going to catch this guy if he actually fights everybody. And that's a big if, because because the way his career has been managed up to this point, they're very, very careful with him. 32 fights against cream puffs. That's what Deontay Wilder's career was prior to fighting Bermane-Stiverne. Absolute cream puffs. Not going anywhere near a Klitschko for 32 fights. Once he becomes champion, continues to avoid Klitschko. Klitschko loses his belt, continues to avoid Klitschko. And this is the guy who says he's the warrior and this, that, and the other. Such a warrior that he couldn't fight Klitschko in all those years. But yet Fury and AJ managed to do it. Imagine that. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I will not be surprised if Deontay Wilder gets chinned at some point in his career. Goes down heavy. I won't be surprised. Because I understand that in heavyweight boxing, when these big guys are slinging 250 pounds around in 10-ounce gloves, all kinds of stuff can happen. It's all about trying to avoid those 10-ounce gloves with 250 pounds behind it landed on your chin. That's what it's about. Okay, but if the little gloves do land on your chin, I don't care how many people you've knocked out. I don't care how bad you think you are, how bad your fans think you are. Chances are you're going down. You know what I mean? Same could happen to Wilder. He has been, for the most part, kept away from punches most of his career. Yeah, he did fight Luis Ortiz twice. How big a puncher was Ortiz really? I mean, we know he can whack, but is he up there with AJ in terms of punching power? I don't think so. Furthermore, and we have to give credit to Wilder for this, by the way, Wilder did a good job of riding the punches in both Ortiz fights, truth be told. He got hurt in the first fight, but again, you watch that fight back, Wilder's pulling away, he's rolling with the punches. He does a good job there, Wilder, with his survival instincts and with his defensive moves. He does a good job of taking the sting out of the shots. But Ortiz is a much shorter guy, shorter arms. He's not a big tall guy like an AJ or a Fury. They'll be able to catch Wilder a lot more easily than someone like a Luis Ortiz, who's an old guy. And Fury's not that kind of puncher, but AJ is. And there's other guys out there. Let me not just bring Fury and AJ into this. There's Hrgovic out there. There's, numerous other fighters. There's dark horses. Martin Bakoli's out there. There's Jarrell Miller out there. There's Alexander Usyk, but he doesn't really have power like that. Of course, there's Dillian Whyte. Andy Ruiz is still out there. A whole heap of fighters. So I've always felt, and I'll keep saying this until you either see it for yourselves or you believe it from my mouth, all of the top heavyweights are going to lose, and not just to each other. We've seen it happen to Anthony Joshua, and I was telling you guys it was going to happen before it happened. I was telling you all that AJ is going to lose, Wilder's going to lose, and Fury is going to lose, and not necessarily all to each other. At least two of them, all right? I've said time and time again, at least two of them are going to lose to people outside of that trio. And it's going to be a big shock to everybody except me. I'm not going to be shocked. I wasn't shocked by what happened to AJ, and I would not be shocked in the slightest if Deontay Wilder lost by knockout, lost his belt by knockout at some stage in his career, or the same happened to Fury. Wouldn't be, even if they lose on points, wouldn't be surprised at all. That's the nature of heavyweight boxing. People's perceptions right now are way off. They don't realize how wide open the heavyweight division currently is. It's wide open. Anybody thinking the heavyweight division's tied up, Wilder's the best, Fury's 2, or Fury's the best, Wilder 2, and the rest are way behind, you are way off. Your perception is so off, I don't even know where to start with you. Right? Because it is wide open right now. We won't know who the best is probably until 3-4 years down the line. When we look back in retrospect, we'll say, okay, so he was the best after all. That's when we'll find out who the best is. So strap in. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. What do you think about Dillian Whyte saying he saw Wilder get knocked out cold? Again, Wilder wasn't supposedly dropped on one occasion by Vlad. He was dropped on several occasions. On one of those occasions, Dillian Whyte says he saw him get knocked out cold. So what do you make of that? Does it have any significance today? It has significance for me in the sense that it can be done again. If somebody catches him right, he can go again, out cold. And there are fighters right now in the heavyweight division who have got the kind of power to knock Wilder out cold and have him twitching. No doubt about it. So let me know what you think. It's happening about. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.